This is Christy with Rising North. So I'm going to start this video with a parable. Some of you may have heard it. It's the Buddhist parable of the mustard seed. And the story goes like this. There was a woman, I think her name is Kimo Gatami, and she lost her only son. He died very young, um, and obviously she was devastated when she could not bring his body back to life. And she went all throughout her village begging for somebody to help her bring her son back to life. She went to every door and asked if they have any medicine to bring her son back to life. And everybody that she met said, I'm sorry, but no medicine is going to save your son. And so finally, she came to the door of this old man who knew the Buddha and knew of the Buddha and knew where to find him. And he thought to himself, I can't help this woman. I'm going to send her to the only person I know who might be able to help her in her grief, right? In her grief state. So he sends her to the Buddha. And she goes to the Buddha's house and she begs him to save her son and wake her son up from death and is begging for medicine, right? And of course, the Buddha sees that her son is already dead. And he tells Kima Gutami, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to all of the houses in the city, and I want you to collect even just one mustard seed from one of the houses where they have not faced death directly. And you bring me that mustard seed back from that house who has not faced the suffering of death. And with that mustard seed, I will create a medicine for your son to bring him back to life. And of course, she was beyond excited, right? That there was a remedy to bring her son back to life. So she goes off to search for this mustard seed. And she thinks, surely this is not going to be hard to find. So she goes to the biggest house that she can find, a castle, right? Knocks on the door and thinks, surely these people have not faced death and hardship and suffering. And they say, I'm sorry. She tells them what she needs, and they say, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you. We lost our grandmother 2 weeks ago. So we just encountered death. I'm sorry. She goes to the next house. The next house tells her something similar. Oh, we've seen death many times over. And she continues on her search, finding that there's not one house that has not experienced death and suffering. And she's a little, she is still in search of this mustard seed, but she's starting to see that maybe she is not being punished by God, that maybe we all face suffering and hardship in this journey of life. So eventually, the moral to the story is eventually she accepts the impermanence of this life and sees that everyone faces suffering in this existence, and everyone comes in contact with death at some point. And she buries her son. She goes back to thank the Buddha, and she goes on to become a nun and devote her life to um, teaching others. So I'm telling you this story because the secret to life in so many ways lies in understanding death and impermanence. And the maybe, just maybe, when we can embrace the impermanence of all people, all things, of everything in our life, including our own mortal bodies, that will be the day that we become awakened, that will be the day that we can really celebrate our lives for what they are, a gift from the divine, right? From the heavens. And as somebody who interacts on the regular with the spirit realm, it's the highest honor of gifts that I could have ever received in my life. It did not come about without a lot of suffering. It was not an easy road, for sure. But I can tell you with certainty that death actually is our greatest teacher and our greatest answer that we are looking for. If you need more convincing of this, I would encourage you to go online and search for people that have experienced near-death experiences where they've died and they've exited this realm to go to the great beyond and then come back with their messages. Watch some of their stories. Hear what it is that they learned from the higher realm while they were there visiting. I would also encourage you to consider, and I know this is a little out there, but consider visiting your local hospital, the terminally ill patients in your local hospital. I guarantee you they could shed some light on the fleeting nature of this existence and how when you really understand the impermanence, right? And you really understand the fleeting nature of this life, you begin to start stripping away all of the illusions, all of the conditioned patterns that you have been raised to believe, or you start examining all these things. You start examining relationships. Are they in your highest good? And those that are not, and those belief systems and those conditioned patterns that we all have, right? That we don't even question because they're just innate inside of us, kind of because we were raised to believe these certain things. And so we just say, well, yeah, that's just how it is. When you start to really deconstruct these paradigms and these belief structures that are so embedded in your DNA at this point, you come to see which ones have to die. And there are going to be conditioned patterns and belief systems that have operated in your life, your whole entire life, that need to be gone forever. And there are relationships that need to be said goodbye to and laid to rest in their final resting place. You bury them and you move forward. It's the cycle of life, right? There's death and there's rebirth. And you can die 1,000 times in this lifetime before your mortal body actually passes away. You can die 1,000 deaths. 1,000 deaths of all the illusions, all of the aspects of self, even. You die to aspects of yourself that are no longer serving you to move into a higher, more divine essence, more divine embodiment of self. In order to be able to keep moving higher and higher and higher in frequency, you have to be able to release all of the lower frequencies that are no longer in alignment. Frequencies such as fear, self-doubt, shame, they're just a few, right? There's so many more. And we need to move into those higher octaves of life: joy, love, abundance, sovereignty, right? Those higher levels of frequency that we can only rise into when we die to those, how do I want to say this? When we die to all of the heaviness and layers that are no longer serving us. One of the best, another way that I have found that it has really helped me in my journey is to meditate on death itself, to picture your body. And there's guided meditations on YouTube for this, and I found a few really great ones that allow you to see your physical body dying. You're taking your last breath, and your body's slowly going back to the earth. It's a little hard because we're not used to thinking like this, and it's really not in our within our societal norms, right? To even think about our own death. But if you think about your impending death, because it is coming, all of our deaths are coming. We don't know when, but we know that they are eventually coming. And all of the greats, I feel, all of the great people that have made such an impact on this world, they have they have recognized the fact that they are not here forever. And instead of allowing fear to stop them from embarking on their wildest dreams, they start taking the reins of their own life while they are still here in the living form. And they don't allow anybody or anything to stop them. And that is what I'm encouraging you to do. Entering what I call the badass era. The badass era is when you come alive, is when you stop apologizing for who you are, for what you do or what you do not do. You stop giving your power away to anybody or anything else outside of you. You stop giving it away, and you start to live within your soul and allow that voice that resides within, that has always been there since you were born and will always be there until the day that you die and you take your final breath in this existence. When you allow that light and that soul energetic blueprint that belongs only to you, that no one else can dictate this to you, no coach, no mentor. Sure, people can give you breadcrumbs. You can get help from, I mean, just about anybody to some degree, right? You could find something worth of value in everything that somebody offers. And well, not everything, but in so many pieces of advice that people give. You can find a nugget here, a nugget there, but nobody knows your own soul's blueprint aside from you. It only belongs to you. So I would encourage you to enter your badass era. And the number one ingredient that you need to be able to enter this era is to understand the impermanence of your existence. How you only have a certain amount of days left on the planet to make a large impact on a grand scale. And it does not have to mean that you're going to get out there and show yourself to the world. It simply means making the internal adjustments to live in alignment with yourself is going to change the world in and of itself, because we need more people that are living in their truth, that are embodying their highest timeline. And when you start to do that, somehow or other, your life begins to transform and it begins to change. You start feeling better and better. You're more empowered. You're free. You are free. You are no longer living anybody else's map for you. You are no longer living in anybody else's story. I would encourage you to do this. And my final message to you is a message that I receive from the spirit realm on the regular. And that is that they laugh and laugh and laugh at how serious we take our lives here on this earth. And as many of them in the spirit realm have been incarnated into this on the earth, they've been here, so they know this experience. They wish for us to add more joy to our lives and to follow what brings us the most joy. It's really not that hard. Follow what feels good. Follow what feels right. Follow what is calling your heart and your soul. And you begin to do that, and you will see blessings beyond your wildest dreams. Thank you for watching. I hope some of this resonated with you. See you in the next video.